In this video, I'm going to take $1,000 and bet it on the US presidential election to see if betting on politics is a viable way to make a little bit of money online. So the platform I'm going to use in today's video is a site called Predicted. It allows you to put your money where your mouth is and place propositional type bets on the outcome of different political happenings. You can bet on everything from whether Kanye will make the ballot in Minnesota to whether certain politicians will be charged or convicted. Up until recently, the most popular markets on Predicted were based on Trump's tweeting habits. You could actually make a bet based off how many tweets he would fire off over a weekend. So, is betting on politics a reasonable way to make some money? Let's find out. So are people actually making money on Predicted? Well, they do have a leaderboard on their site where you can see the ROI some people are getting, but beyond that, it's really hard to know. I did find an article that talked about some people who are doing it full time. For instance, Rainbow Jeremy reportedly makes between $15,000 to $25,000 per month on Predicted. Now that's a substantial amount of money, so let's dive in and figure out how all of this works. So most of the action on Predicted happened during a US presidential election year, such as this year, 2020. You can think of the markets on Predicted as pretty straightforward propositional type bets. Each question posed on Predicted is called a market. Some markets have a simple yes or no answer, and others have multiple possible answers. Each possible answer to the question posed is called a contract. The price for each contract share is in cents, and once the market closes, meaning once that question has been answered officially, like the results of an election, the winning contract is worth $1 and the losing contract is worth $0. Let's take a look at the 2020 presidential winner election market as an example. Basically, if you think Biden is going to win the US presidential election in November, you would buy a yes share on Biden for the going rate, which right now is 58 cents. If he does win the election, the market will settle and each Biden share will then be worth $1. So in essence, you can make 42 cents per share if you're correct. If you think Trump is going to win, you'd buy a yes share on Trump for 45 cents and you would stand to make 55 cents per share if he wins. If you're wrong either way, you lose it all. But just like the stock market, you can trade the shares before the market closes at any time. So if news comes out that Biden ran an ultramarathon and aced a cognitive test, his shares might rise in value. You could then sell some shares and lock in some sick gains. So before I go any farther, I just want to make one thing perfectly clear. This is gambling straight up. It's not investing, it's not anything else. So if you're interested in doing anything presented in this video, only do so with money you're okay with losing. To be completely transparent, I am no expert at Predicted. In fact, I dabbled in it a little bit during the Democratic nomination process and I lost money. So there you have it. Okay, so you're thinking Predicted sounds pretty interesting and you want to know what the catch is? Well, there's a few. First, each contract that you enter has a limit of $850. So this greatly limits the amount of money that you can gain and also lose. It also keeps big bankrolls out of the process so they can't move markets around and can't do pump and dumps as easily. So in some ways, it's a good thing. Also, the amount of traders is capped, so there can only be 5,000 traders holding shares in any one contract. Second, Predicted's fees are 10% of your profit, and that's a lot. If you lose money on a trade, you don't pay anything. But if from our previous example, you make $400 on Biden winning the election, Predicted's gonna take $40 from you. Third, that's not all they're gonna take from you. When you withdraw your money, they're also gonna take 5%. So the instant you deposit $1,000, like I'm about to do in this video, you lose $50 instantly to Predicted's fees. So that definitely kills some of the allure, but I'm just gonna go for it anyways. Fourth, it's not really a catch, but just make sure you read the rules on any market before you buy shares, because the question posed may differ slightly from the official rules. So click on that and read those before you enter the trade, just so you know what exactly you're getting into. So Predicted is not a perfect representation of the general consensus. There are people on there with their own biases. There could be 80% of Trump fans on there, 20% Biden fans, you don't even know. So this can lead to some mispriced markets, meaning if there are a lot of Trump fans on Predicted who are extremely bullish on Trump winning because that's what they hear from their news sources and Trump himself, you could take advantage of the opportunity if the pricing doesn't match closely to the polled numbers or your own viewpoint of what might happen. There's also some interesting propositions that seem like easy money. Check this one out. Will Hillary Clinton run for president in 2020? Right now, the yes is at 6 cents and the no is at 95 cents. There's been absolutely zero indication of her running, and it seems like an easy way to make 5 cents per share. Well, sure, I could buy 100 shares of no for $95, and when the market finally closes and she doesn't run, I'd make a whopping $5 or close to a 5% return. But they will take their 10% cut and charge you 5% when you withdraw. So you could try the strategy with a bunch of different markets like this and probably make some easy money. But for me, it's not really an exciting enough deployment of capital to make it worth my time or energy. So a couple of weeks ago, right before Biden announced his VP pick, I decided to get in on some of the action. I'm bullish for Biden to win in November, so I started off by buying yes shares on Biden, betting he will win the US election. I spent the most amount I could, which was up to $850, so that gave me 1,465 shares at 58 cents a piece. Next, I went over to the will Donald Trump win the popular vote in 2020 market. I bought 100 shares of no for 78 cents a piece. My thought here is, since he didn't win the popular vote in 2016, and I feel like he's lost more support over the last 4 years than he's gained, I don't expect him to win the popular vote. The market seems to agree with me on this one. I picked up 100 shares at 78 cents a piece, and I stand to make about $20 if I'm correct. I then moved over to the Democratic vice presidential nomination, and I saw that Kamala Harris was quickly rising in price. And I knew Biden was poised to announce his VP pick any day now, and I started to think that news must have leaked that Kamala Harris was going to be his running mate. So I tried to buy shares at 85 cents, but unfortunately the contract value was rising too quickly and I did not get my order filled. I should have raised my max buying price, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm no expert and I'm still kind of getting the hang of Predicted's platform. And of course, like 2 minutes later, Biden did announce that she was his running mate, so it did seem like news leaked out just a few minutes early. Since you are limited to $850 per contract, if you really want to double down on a certain position, you can find other markets that have a question with a similar type of answer, just posed a little differently. So for instance, we have a market like this, which asks which party will win the presidency. I could also go back to the US presidential winner market and buy no's on Trump if I wanted to, if I could do another $850 in that position. And that's pretty similar to buying a yes on Biden. So I'm gonna take a look at the markets here, see if I find something that I wanna put my remaining $98 to, so. Here's a market. It says, will a woman be elected US vice president in 2020? The yes is 59 cents. So if Joe Biden wins with Kamala Harris, or if Mike Pence gets ditched for a female running mate, then I win. So I kind of like my odds here. It's also in line with Joe Biden's price right now, which makes sense. But I do have the additional upside if Mike Pence is no longer the running mate for Trump. So I think I'm going to use my remaining cash and grab some of these shares. I don't like doing the math, so I just type in a large amount and then it adjusts it for me. So I can get 167 shares with my remaining cash. I'll go ahead and submit. And then the shares went through. We can see it's filled right there on the side. I've only bought 3 shares and I'm trying to buy 164, so we'll see if the rest go through. Well, I'm hoping we'll get some positive price movement before I have to post this video, so I'll check back in later. Okay, so it's Saturday, August 29th, and I thought I'd give you an update on my current positions. The numbers have been fluctuating pretty mildly throughout the day. Biden has been losing some value, so right now my account is now down $36.98. Well, now it's $37.98. Here's another thing that I should mention. My largest bet was on Biden for 58 cents to win the election. What I should have done instead was buy a no on Trump for 56 cents. They're practically saying the same thing, but one is 2 cents extra in my favor, the no on Trump. I probably won't see a whole lot of price movement until we get closer to November, and normally I'd wait and post my results once everything has been decided. So let's just recap my bets, how much I spent, and how much I can expect to win if I am right. So all in all, I bet $1,026.23, and if I win all 3 bets, I'll make a profit of $635.19 after their 10% fee for a 62% return on my bet. So I don't have super exciting results yet, but I wanted to go ahead and post this video just in case you wanted to do something like Predict It. Now is the time to do it when there's a presidential election happening. Remember, if you do want to gamble on something like politics, use only money that you're okay with losing. That's it for this one. See you guys next time.